100 men versus 1 gorilla.
Oh, we winning. Matter of fact, I'm gonna flip that gorilla over and show him what a real man like. Today we got a whole bunch of damn nature, you scary. Some Casual Geographic reactions.
Just the newest online debate brought to you by people that have way too much time on their hands.
Yep.
And I'm no better, because here I am making a video about it. Because it's quickly gone from silly Twitter talk to what has to be a massive joke that I'm not in on.
What's even better, John Bones Jones, the man who's afraid to face me in the octagon.
Okay, Aaron.
Johnny, I'm joking. Johnny,
No, he's not joking.
No. It's a joke.
Not a joke.
But John Jones said, I'll lead the first wave against that. I was like, let's go.
One side is getting drastically overrated, while people obviously aren't taking the other side seriously. Plus, I love animals and arguments, so if you're looking for a video to eat your lunch with, or to be the soundtrack of your commute home, I'm going to break down the question you probably didn't care about in the first place, and by the end, you'll wonder how this was ever even a question. So here's the full truth of whether 100 unarmed men could beat 1 prime silverback gorilla. But first, we gotta understand what force of nature we're up against.
Yep.
Now, I do have a couple recent videos on gorillas, so to not repeat myself too much, I do advise that you check those out for further context.
W videos.
Basically, everything we thought about gorillas back in the day was wrong. They're giant, non-violent, fart-happy pacifists, and the most dangerous thing about them is they can misunderstand regular human actions as an act of war. So while, yeah, if you smile at a silverback enough times, he eventually will put beats on you like a Cherokee drum, most times a gorilla is just worried about the 6,000 calories he eats a day. And thank the stars for that. Gorillas are built like the developer had something to prove. They took the human model and said, drag to resize. The result is an alpha ape with a stronger bite force than a grizzly, allegedly, hands that can crush a crocodile's skull, allegedly, and just strength that we really have no way to truly comprehend. That man fully didn't plan to get casually ragdolled, but plans are always subject to change when you're around the prime age.
One of the funniest videos
bro,
ever.
Bro, he gave up. He was like, he's like, I'm going to die.
And the crazy part, nobody else moved.
Nobody. They was like,
a whole camp.
It was like, thank you.
Nobody else moved, bro.
Gorillas might default to peace, but life is multiple choice. The question is, what kind of carnage comes when they choose violence? It's hard to imagine what a fully malice-motivated gorilla can do because it takes a lot for them to get to that point. The first phase of conflict involves using body language and gestures to send a message before hands even have to be thrown. Because for an animal that can spend over 12 hours a day eating, wasting calories on fights is poor resource management. The second phase of escalation usually involves pushing, grappling, and screaming in really short bursts. Gorillas fight the way they fuck. What I mean is pushing, grappling, and screaming.
Balls of
10 toes. 10 toes.
Said that he didn't move.
I'm gonna say word.
Word. I know what you about. Word.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I've been looking at weapons. Not that I'm gonna buy one, because if I have to buy one, I have to give somebody in a group $1,000. But give me a fully automatic desert 50 cal gun, I'm going at anything. You give me fully automatic.
What you gonna do with a fully automatic? What?
I'm just saying, if it's me versus animals, I'm going against all of them.
Right.
They're dead. They're dead to rights.
For sure.
Now the handgun one, oh no. But I'm talking the fully automatic.
Okay.
They exist.
So if you can't handle a desert eagle, what makes you think you handling that?
You can handle that way better.
You
can handle a longer barrel guns handle way better than shorter barrel guns. Yeah. That's like the 22, a 22. Yeah. Listen, a 22 pistol, right?
Right.
It kicks back.
Right.
But a 22 rifle doesn't have as much kick as the pistol.
Brother, we shot a fully automatic rifle.
I held it straight down.
But that was nowhere near 50 cal.
I'm saying you give me.
What are you talking?
I'm saying you give me a fully automatic 50 cal. I'm going at anything.
For sure.
I ain't saying I'm gonna do good. I'm not saying I'm gonna hit, but it makes sense that literally makes sense to be like, I'm a lot more confident with a fully automatic 50 cal than any other gun. Because that's a bigger bullet and it's gonna pack more of a punch. That makes sense.
You do you.
Burst. Right. Gorillas fight the way they fuck. What I mean is, the phase they run are like how they're hung. Not long at all. Because again, most times gorillas don't actually want to fight. But what about when they do? Yeah, that would be phase 3, and that usually happens when 2 silverbacks throw down for control of a group. Losing such would mean losing the 3 F's: food, family, and the FCC won't let me finish. Mistakes can make these fights to the death, and here's where we can see what gorillas are truly capable of. I found a research paper that detailed the injuries sustained in gorilla-on-gorilla fights capable of.
Come on now, y'all seeing this technique and saying 100 of us can't. Come on, bro.
Here's where we can see.
Come on, bro. Look at that technique, bro.
Truly capable of. I found a research paper that detailed the injuries sustained in gorilla-on-gorilla fights, and based on that, you see a pattern. Those teeth are for more than just undressing trees, and losers are often found with lacerations and puncture wounds all over the body. Unlike a leopard which leaves small puncture wounds, the canines of a gorilla cause large gaping tears in victims. Even if the gorilla's bite strength has been exaggerated, which we will get into, even lowballing them puts them at the level of a hyena. One gorilla named Inshuti had his foot completely crushed with the tips of his fingers and ear bitten off. Gorillas also use their arms, not really to punch but to use as battering rams, and they've also been known to pull chunks of hair out with their hands. So safe to say, a gorilla's stiff arm to the back would crack your constitution like a glow stick and could dislocate or break human bones by accident. Many victims also reported with bite wounds to the face. You'd probably be able to unlock your iPhone from 20 feet away after a gorilla puts jaws on you. So what chance would an army of humans have against a 500-pound berserker? Well, hot take. Gorillas have been drastically overrated in many ways. First, as fighters. Gorillas aren't efficient fighters, they're more physical brawlers and grapplers, and with everything I've said, most fights last anywhere from a couple seconds to 1 to 2 minutes at the most. Also, as strong as gorillas are, their strength has been overrated. There are some animals that just get more and more OP the more people talk about them. Chimps have been said to have the strength of 8 men when really it's closer to 1.5. It's just that they're stronger in all the ways that can kill you. And grizzly bears are already big enough, but then you got people claiming they could decapitate a full-grown moose with one swipe.
Nigga, I saw a video of a nigga shotgun I think it was buckshot to a bear's head. That bear fucked him up. Yeah. Because the bear broke in, I think I was on Reddit. The bear, I think, broke into his cabin. It was either his cabin or his house. He's like, "Get out, bear!" He shot it. He's like, "Ah!" That bear backed up. Nigga, that bear charged in that house. All you hear is, "Ah!" It's the whatever their form of adrenaline is, they got it too, bro. They got it too. That boy, every bullet ain't gonna put them niggas down, bro. It's gonna that's why I like take more than one. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. This is off the subject. I don't understand how niggas hunt bears. They're crazy. I'm not. They're crazy, bro. They're insane. But going back to this video, I still think a bear kills a gorilla in a fight. A bear kills. I mean, yeah, that's totally could be possible. But what he's saying right now is the perfect example of what they're doing on TikTok. Like overrating, vastly overrating yes, they're strong. Yes, they're big. Yes, they're fast. Yes, they got teeth. But it's a numbers game, brother. Yeah. It's a numbers game.
What idiot would say that? And this debate has people swearing a gorilla would rip a whole man in half like a phone book with nary a sweat. I knew the gorilla propaganda piece, but this was an actual debate. Dr. Strange can conjure up 14 million realities. You won't find one where a plus-size protein-packing primate can do anything to a full-strength grizzly bear taking him seriously. Especially since there's a much smaller predator known to give gorillas problems. Gorillas have been documented since there's a much smaller predator known to give gorillas.
Oh, he up here somewhere. I think I've seen this somewhere. Where is he at? I could have swore he was up here somewhere. Look closer, he's in there. Where is this damn? Is it leopard? That we looking for? I don't see him.
Boy, we dead.
Boy, we out of there.
We're dead.
Oh, he right there.
Oh yeah, we're dead.
We are out of there.
Gorillas have been documented getting preyed on by African leopards. Even with jungle leopards being bulkier due to less competition, that's still an at most 180-pound cat past tensing Optimus Prime. Now let me be fair, these are rare and leopards usually go for hoofed animals, wild pigs, and monkeys. Gorillas are actually too big and too social to be a regular on the grocery list, so it sounds like my whole point is trash. But that same paper listing gorilla-on-gorilla violence also showed the aftermath of leopard attacks. In those reports, all leopard victims took bite wounds to the head and most of the arms, with lacerations localized about the neck and claw marks on the trunk. So even though it is rare and a one-on-one between a silverback and a leopard might murk both, if a gorilla can struggle with less than 200 pounds of predator, a 900-pound duratio would give Harambe a bunkmate. Also, against 100 men, there are some very real issues that could be game over for the gorilla. The big one is endurance. Gorillas are dangerously close to being hot girl fit. They're best using explosive bursts of energy, not sustained strain over a long period of time, and a fight against 100 humans would likely last hours, which is really bad considering compared to us, gorillas have poor temperature control. Gorillas don't have as many sweat glands as humans, and if we're talking about mountain gorillas, the thick fur would make it a 1-on-1 versus 1. The men and the risk of heat stroke. That is if the ape doesn't just have a heart attack. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in gorillas in zoos, and 70% of male gorillas in zoos suffer from heart disease that'll pass tense them prematurely. Now,
bruh, like we've been saying, pack watch.
Yeah.
And y'all forgetting, some of them can be taller than us, but they not that much bigger than us. They not like, this is not Mighty Joe Young or King Kong. They not 20 feet tall. Gorillas are 5 something at max to 6 something. Maybe. Like, bruh, the average man is what? 5'8" to 6 foot? Come on, man.
Now that might just apply to zoo gorillas, but it's still a factor. Another is the very temperament of the gorilla is highly non-confrontational. They're more likely to run away than run a fade. But most importantly, the brawling, grappling build is not a good combat style against multiple enemies. We know that cause there's another African predator that's been giving gorillas hell, and you may not have even realized it. And it's weird because for a while, gorillas and chimpanzees seem like they were on good terms. They've been reported foraging together, and they'll even have their version of primate playdates. That all changed when the chimps started chimping. A couple years ago in Luongo National Park, scientists witnessed a gang of 18 chimps jump a gorilla family of 5. That's 3 females, 1 baby, and a silverback. The turf war lasted an hour, and even with the silverback apparently testing ragdoll
That's what that's from? This picture? I don't know if the picture is from that.
physics, throwing chimps in the air and even managing to injure 3. Eventually, he was surrounded and chased off by 9 chimps.
That's too many.
The adults
It's a
got
numbers
away,
game.
but the chimps managed to snatch the baby gorilla of the group, which was promptly eaten. The second attack involved 27 chimpanzees and 7 gorillas, and this time the silverback made a business decision and immediately climbed out of the trees and fled the scene. Yes, comparing chimps to humans is comparing durians to jackfruit. The moral here is the one gorilla can not only be overwhelmed, but neutralized by numbers. Because if there's one thing that's being dangerously underrated, it's the power of friendship. Don't laugh, I'm serious. If you remember this picture, then you know.
Hey, Thunderbolts 101, the power of friendship. Hey, it's valid then. You know what I'm saying? What a Century Void got to do against the power of friendship, bro.
True.
Come on, man.
This was the 100 Men, 1 Gorilla of 2018. It's pretty self-explanatory. Everything.
Oh, I remember posts like this,
Pick
bro.
2 that will defend you, the rest are gonna come kill you.
2 that'll defend me. Give me the bears. Is that 10,000 rats?
Man.
Give me the bears and the 10,000. 10,000?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nigga with a gun. Well, he only
That's
got
a
so many.
nigga with a gun.
Yeah, he only got so many bullets. We can make him miss. Them 10,000 rats packing him up,
But
packing the wolves up, packing the lions up. The
only thing
gorillas
we gotta worry
gone.
about is the fucking hawks.
10,000 versus.
Right.
Oh, it's 50. Even then, well, they in the sky. They got the advantage of the sky. Other than that, they ain't doing nothing. The hawks ain't doing nothing to the bears.
Right.
The alligators might get the bears a little work, but the rats will.
Maybe 10 alligators, 1,000 rats. I don't know what the alligators gonna do.
Yeah.
Sure, then you know, this was the 100 Men, 1 Gorilla of 2018.
It really was.
It's pretty self-explanatory. Everything here is coming for your life, except the 2 you picked to run defense for you. And I'm just gonna kill the suspense. If one of those picks isn't the 10,000 rats, you have no idea how big 10,000 is. Add eagles for aerial support, and the rest of the field would have over 200 rats to deal with each. And it's cause the power of plurality is one of the most broken strategies in nature.
Yeah.
Mobbing refers to an anti-predator behavior
Thank you.
where prey
Damn.
animals approach, harass, and sometimes attack their own predator.
Thank
It's how
you.
one animal can shift an almost impossible matchup in their favor. One hyena to a lion is a chew toy.
Yeah.
Add 20 and it's a life lesson. Pilot whales have been on record chasing orcas out of high competition areas and even actively following the sounds of orca hunts. There's plenty of examples of weaponized unity in nature, but probably my favorite case of what's akin to a mob happens off the coast of South Africa, where fur seals have to risk their spot on the census every time they check the fridge, cause the seals can't go out for groceries without the chance of running into the biggest predatory fish on earth. Every year, great white sharks will gather around fur seal nurseries and snatch any inexperienced pups. The problem is so many sharks show up that a seal can dodge one great white right into the jaws of another. You've seen this movie before, but there's an alternate ending. Scientists have recorded fur seals squatting up into one giant group and using their numbers to turn on the sharks jumping in. And as the mob gets bigger, the seal force gets more confident, leading to them escorting the 20-foot assault submarines back out to sea. So with all this, now it doesn't seem like a stretch to favor 100 men over just one gorilla. You could argue that the seals and the other mob merchants aren't actually getting physical with their final boss. That's true, everyone's asking if 100 men could off a gorilla, no one's asking how. Well, that's why I'm here. But first, obligatory, don't try this on a gorilla, or at least don't blame me for the consequences if you do.
Nah, that first wave of men is, boy, good luck.
Hey, look, we
John, we need you.
Look, bro,
John Jones.
We could really set this up, bro. Look,
What you mean?
I found a country and I found a gorilla.
Your brain.
We just gotta fly to Antigua. Fly from Antigua to
where?
I can't say.
Right.
But
you need 100 men.
Granted, the FBI might be checking out their but
search history crazy.
I had to look it up. You feel me? So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right. For sure.
In a fight against a simian weighing a shack and a half, it's all about attacking the weak points, and a gorilla's weak points are the same as ours. Eyes, throat, mouth, and for measure, the jewels of the south. It's all about delivering damage that actually—
Bro, we've been saying all this stuff for weeks, and the gorilla, dude, they're not invincible. For the love of God.
matters, and to do that, someone would have to perform the Draymond Green special and go for the eyes and blind him. Someone else would have to suffocate the supersized simian, either by bear hugging his windpipe, which only Tarzan backpacking plot armor can do, or by shoving your entire arm down his throat. And since you're already negotiating your arm elbow deep in esophagus, you'd also have to pull the gorilla's tongue out. I call that the leopard method, because a 73-year-old once soloed an attacking leopard by reaching into its mouth and ripping out the leopard's liquor. And speaking of grab and pull, someone would have to be elected to perform Draymond's final smash. And go for the gorillas.
Get him out of here.
Unmentionables. Hey, don't judge. This is war. The rest would have to use their combined strength to pin the primate down, with the remainder delivering kicks to the gorilla's flank. The most powerful natural attack to the gorilla's most vulnerable area. That would probably be the best way to chip away at a gorilla. One problem though, this is still a gorilla we're talking about. Even with everything I said about their strength being overrated, a gorilla fighting for its life would show you destruction like you've never seen. It doesn't matter how many men, the method, or the facet. For those first few, their only outcome is a closed casket. Even if numbers eventually win, those first dozen or so men would be horrifically maimed, mutilated, or straight up murked. You can argue that if I can mention that 100 men running over the hill would intimidate even a gorilla, witnessing men getting mauled and disfigured would inflict psychological damage. There's an argument that witnessing the sheer carnage would weaken the resolve of the others, destabilizing the army. And you have to remember, if mobbing is natural, doing so in a way that guarantees a portion of your team sees Tupac live isn't. Even animals like hyenas will fall back if they sense they don't have enough of an advantage in a clan fight. But there's a catch. The tweet that started all this said, "Dedicated to that shit. Surely if men can watch bunkmates get blown to bits in a war, then you can find 100 willing to die by the gorilla. If they can withstand the visceral reaction of seeing jaws getting detached, limbs getting dislocated, and a field of open fractures, 100 men would definitely beat a gorilla and more."
There is 100 crazy.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie.
Boy, there's some psychos.
Look. I tell you what,
psychos.
I could take down a gorilla with 30 niggas. All I need is 30.
I ain't gonna be there.
Neither would I. You know, it's gonna be crackheads. 30 crackheads. You think I'm so serious? 30 crackheads gonna do the gorilla the worst way. Cause that nigga gonna bite that nigga arm off. He gonna crack nigga. They gonna eat my fix. They gonna go back to fighting.
we have strayed so far from the halo of Harambe. Yeah, this is the part where I do the annoying thing and turn a tweet made by someone who definitely wouldn't pass a P-test into a lecture. Like I said in the other video, gorillas have already been getting the middle finger from humanity, either in the wild or in zoos. Whether it's trophy hunting or bushmeat, habitat loss or an unsupervised minor, humans have the highest KD ratio against our green machine cousins. Because a gorilla has never been on record life depriving a person, even when they may have had a reason. Yet the mountain gorilla is nearly in bed with extinction mostly because of humans. But not all humans. Some dedicate their entire lives to the welfare of this giga ape, which is why—
Alright, y'all, I'm gonna do it, bro.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna save them, y'all.
You gonna save?
I'm gonna save them from going extinction, y'all. Fuck, man.
What you gonna do?
I'm saying,
What are we doing here?
Alright, y'all. I won't just buy one island. I'm gonna buy two. Fuck, bro. I'll give my second island to the endangered species.
Okay.
Fuck,
okay.
bro.
Hey, that's real humanitarian. That's not humanitarian. That's
planetarian.
planetarian.
Animalarian.
Right. Extinctionarian.
why I'll be donating to Virunga National Park. Not only do they treat and protect the gorillas there as family, they often have to risk their lives regularly going against poachers. That and the fact that I made a video detailing how to murk an endangered species makes my soul itch, so link down below if you'd like to donate as well. I'm not kidding when I say they're family. This man was seen comforting one of his young gorillas after his mother died. And fun fact, Virunga National is where we got this gem. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Died. And fun fact,
That's cool.
Them things, boy, you can't. What is going on in the head of an animal? I gotta know. Cause like to be like, you know what? I seen y'all do this before.
Let me post up with
Cub. We gonna move on to dogs that will send you to God.
these are the dogs that will take the leash off and walk you. Because a lot of y'all have gotten way too confident. I've said it before, but one way to see how a guy's mind works is to ask him, what's the biggest animal you could beat in a fight? And if you want to see how highly he thinks of himself, ask him, what's the biggest dog he could take down? Or if there's even one alive that he couldn't. TikTok has taught me a majority of y'all are KOing anything canine. Allegedly. Now,
I don't think
Most normal motherfuckers. If I gotta stay alive, I'm staying alive. But when you get to a certain size,
yeah, bro. Because like I think even a golden retriever could take somebody out.
Yeah, could take somebody. Yeah.
Like golden retrievers, huskies.
But I'm not about to lower my confidence.
Yeah.
Against most normal breeds.
Yeah.
That we everyday breeds.
Yeah.
Knowing it's like a fight to the death.
Yeah, you think
I'm not about to lower my confidence and get taken out. You feel
type shit.
It's gonna have to earn it.
Yeah.
Now, in their defense, there's over 350 breeds of dogs, and the average man is bodying most of them.
Yeah.
Dogs are built for friendship, some quite literally, and they're descended from a pack hunter who really isn't about the one-on-ones. Plus, dogs have one real way of delivering damage, and unless they have the size to make up for it, most dogs can't go band for band with the average man. The thing about size.
Jesus, yeah, it's some big ones.
Great.
Boy, the producer who made that beat is what the hell is that? What even is that?
That's a Tibetan Mastiff.
Yeah, I'm losing.
I think this might be bullshit. But I think those are bred to hunt lions.
I don't know. I can see it.
Canines are big enough to take you off the registry. Once dogs hit that 140 to 150 pound range, they go from a loud inconvenience to something whose free will could potentially put you in a dirt motel. Bigger than that, and you got the kind of dog where every breath he takes is by his blessing.
Jesus.
Real quick, this isn't to demonize any breed or inspire you to test your luck against your dog. And also, don't take this too seriously. I know Fantasy Fight Club loves hills to die on. But first we got the
Kangal,
The Kangal Shepherd is a Turkish Fido flex bred as a livestock guardian dog against jackals, wolves, and bears. Males on average get from 110 to 150 pounds, but ask around. Someone will tell you about their 180 pound attitude adjustment. An important distinction is that these aren't herding dogs. They're guarding dogs. The canine insurance policy pretty much are part of the herd, and any predators that flock around very quickly find out. Kangals will defend theirs in any situation, and while the cellmate of Cerberus prefers intimidation, they'll catch a clean body if it gets there. The catch is, since Kangals are built to defend the defenseless, they're unironically really good with children. But with a temper more trigger-happy than the state of Texas, nothing steps to a member of a Kangal's herd without getting read in an obituary. Apparently, some Kangals have snapped at their owners for getting too close to their own sheep. With Kangals having the strongest bite of any dog at an alleged 743 pounds per square inch, a snap from a helicoptering horsehound hits much different.
And look, let me just go ahead and say I apologize, Mr. Kangal. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the Taco Bell dog. You know what I'm saying? I kicked him through the field goal post. Bro. And you.
And it sucks, bro. Like, certain dogs like this, I think it's awesome. But it's also the other side. And I think it goes into the training where, like, the dog should never attack the master. Mm-hmm. So it's like...
Well, I mean, it's also unpredictable at times. Yeah, like, you can't predict what anything will do. Yeah. Even your own family member.
Yeah. They're so protective. They even protect some of the predators they were hired.
You ain't predict that slap coming digit.
No, I did not.
Press the digits. Huh? You didn't expect that either.
Against. In Namibia, ranchers and cheetahs share an area code. In a world where a dead cow can set your entire family back, many cheetahs become chalk outlines in the name of asset protection. But having Kangals and Anatolians on site, which as far as I understand are Americanized Kangals, the cheetahs get run off by canine conflict resolution before the ranchers have to reach for a permanent solution. The Kangal option actually reduced cheetah trappings and killings by 80%, and in some places they're providing the same deterrent service to wolves. So all in all, they're still a good dog. Just not for everyone. And not just because they need space, experience, and most importantly,
whoever owned these Kangals with these dang spiked collars, y'all got a masterclass in intimidation 101 because that's crazy.
And that's also because most things go for the neck.
So there's a guy protecting it against the wolves, whatever.
There's a guy, I think his name is Nate. He has a Kangal. He has a small dog named Minion. And they put that because in case like a coyote or something go to snap at his neck, it's gonna get stabbed.
Okay.
Only a purpose. They need discipline because gentle parenting means Turkish Tank rips your arm out of the socket the first time he sees a squirrel. This fluffy boulder would send you back to the mountains they spawned from. Forged in the mountains of Caucasus, the Caucasian Shepherd is also called the Russian bear dog, even though they're not Russian, and you're liable for a lecture if you call them that in front of the wrong person. They also weren't bred to hunt bears. They're also livestock life insurance. It's just that calorie blocking a bear might just come with a job description. The blow-dry Tasmanian devil comes in two forms, the longer coated mountain type and the shorter coated steppe version. The mountain brand are the big boys, and usually the ones that can get to over 200 pounds. And I promise you are not choking out a Wolverine on creatine with war experience. The dog, also called the ovcharka, was used in World War II as Soviet Union guards that would gatekeep Soviet gulags. So they might not send you there, but they'll keep you in its custody. So even though they didn't originate in Russia, before the Soviet Union developed an atomic bomb, they mobilized a furry nuke in the form of fire. Also, a good amount would patrol the Berlin Wall, and after the wall came down and the dogs were adopted out, many of the veterans would suddenly remember their orders whenever near the past tense wall and would robotically walk in obedience to a wall that wasn't there. So yeah, folks messed around and created an absolute unit of a sleeper agent, and it isn't until you have about 200 pounds of dog resisting your will that you realize what their mouth.
He did that and was like, see, I done told you about messing with me, bro.
Of Caucasus were cooking. There's a reason this domesticated bear is used in Russian prisons. Imagine packs of ovcharkas roaming the city of Berlin at the expense of anyone unlucky enough to run into them. Well, you don't need imagination. For one of the dogs next, it's a reality.
Oh!
This is honest.
This what drug me around.
That's what.
It was a black Kangal.
Demons.
He was sweet as shit, but that motherfucker drugged me like nothing.
See, the first place my mind went after hearing about the man versus dog debate. You tell him to sit, he looks at you like this. What is your next move? Daikujo decides to climb on your couch where he knows he's not allowed.
Muscular,
what is your vehicle of retribution? I pray it's not a roll of newspaper. He's gonna make you a small section of the next one. Latin is like a linguistic black light that tells the full story of a word, and when you shine it on Cane Corso, canis is dog, and Corso or cohors refers to guard, specifically a military guard dog. Corsos, or actually Corsai, are kind of the guard dog, and they're descended from ancient Roman war dogs known as Canis pugnax. For Corsai, the Italian Mastiff would attack enemy lines in battle with buckets of flaming, scalding hot oil strapped to their backs. Fun fact, in my culture, Cani buckets of flaming, scalding hot oil strapped to their backs.
Nope.
What have we created?
Bro, they was just releasing these motherfuckers. They were weapons.
Yeah.
They weaponized dogs.
For sure.
Fun fact, in my culture, kani is the name of a spice you put on dishes, and to me it's all good, but to someone who's never had it before or doesn't know how to handle it, it can be an over-seasoned assault on the senses. Same story with the uber black of dogs. Handle them wrong and they're a one-way trip straight to Valhalla. And with many over 120 pounds, I do believe every conscious breath you take is with their consent. Again, they're guard dogs that protect their pack, and within it, they're docile family dogs that you can trust with the kids. But the same dog that can tear a wild boar in half like a phone book would absolutely turn them into...
Oh yeah, we're done. We're cooked. Tear a wild boar? Oh, we're cooked. We're done. We're not. No. Bradley Martin, but I weigh 460. You're done, buddy. He gonna jump on you with that momentum. Bite your arm, bite your neck, bite your bro. You
coffin fodder in a fight.
the fuck is
This might be the most underrated dog out here. First time I saw one, I genuinely thought it was a customized cane. And while they look similar, at up to and often over 140 pounds, the Bressa Canario somehow tankier than the canine Italian stallion.
Yep.
Don't get it twisted, the Spanish Mastiff off the Canary Islands is 404ing most men. They just might have been brought over by Spanish conquistadors, and they were admired for their intelligence, toughness, and like a fitted sheet they won't fold. But they were also bred specifically to exterminate wild or stray dogs. And that's something I'm gonna touch on later, because LGDs like Ovchakas, they're not meant to murk predators, just discourage them. They bred the Presa Canario to erase other dogs. That's basically a canine assassin. The hired gun was also a reoccurring character in dogfighting rings, even after it was criminalized. Because of this, the pride of the Canary Islands almost went extinct in the 60s. Luckily, a breed society, Club Español de Presa Canario, was formed, and they came up with a breed standard. The standard was approved in '89, and the Presa Canario was recognized as the official dog of the Canary Islands. The goal was to help the Presa make a comeback, and today they're still going strong. They have a lifespan that can last over a decade, despite all the nerfs that come with being a big dog. Which means we're talking about the dog that has fought its own kind, its own biology, and literal extinction. Not the type I want to start problems with. Now,
look at
That's a dog.
Bred
That's a daggone dog.
to defeat other dogs. You have to be a
Like, I was bred to defeat other soldiers. You feel me?
right.
But I was also bred to save other people. You know what I'm saying?
To
Like,
be a hero.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll let the record show that the muscle of canary is the equivalent of a canine wet wipe around family, but any burglars getting blacklisted from the census.
Tibetan Mastiff, Himalayan region.
Boy, them bitches are
Huge.
Once
bro.
upon a time, a zoo in China caught heat for trying to pass off a dog as
Oh,
an
yeah?
African lion. Oh, it didn't last long, and they were for sure wrong, but when you squint at a Tibetan Mastiff, you see their inspiration. This woolly mammoth is one of the oldest
fact that
dog
they thought
breeds
they could
alive,
do it,
and they were
bro.
used to protect Buddhist monasteries and Tibetan monks from apex threats like wolves, bears, and snow
wonder what they look
leopards.
like without the
Traditionally,
fur.
the hound of the
Without
Himalayas
the
will
hair.
sleep all day and patrol the villages at night. So if you take in a Tibetan Mastiff, you may find their habits nocturnal. They're built different. I'm talking genetically
that thing.
sequenced abnormally. Back in the day, Tibetan Mastiffs were bred with Tibetan wolves because the dogs have a special protein that helps red blood cells carry oxygen 50% more efficiently. This mutation does not appear in other dogs, but you do see it in the Tibetan subspecies of gray wolf, which is why the sentient hair salon pile can survive such a high altitude. It's not hard to see how a full-grown literal Clifford can send wolves running. And that's what I wanted to mention. These are guardian dogs,
that's
not
true,
attack dogs. They don't want you dead, necessarily. Just
if
gone.
you try 'em-
They're not out here looking for smoke, and if you have one,
That's
you'll
a
find that
lot
the
of
most dangerous
hair.
thing about them is the constant slobbering can be a slip hazard. But there's a catch. The Tibetan Mastiff wasn't just insurance, they were a status symbol, especially in China. One
boy, them bitches high.
Yeah, they gotta be.
Damn. Niggas be like, oh, my pit bull.
named Big Splash
How we
sold
talking?
for $1.5 million, so they can ruin you physically
Jesus!
and financially. The problem is, like all fads, the TM hype faded fast, and the outcome was more abandoned mastiffs than anyone knew what to do with.
Whoa.
Except the dogs. The Tibetan persuasion started forming feral packs where they've killed livestock, hunted native
Oh my
raw
God.
sheep, and even attacked ancient enemies like
gotta
snow
eat.
leopards, bears, and now even humans.
gotta eat.
Now
Oh,
we've
no,
got
wait.
thousands of
Whoa.
feral uber dogs roaming the Tibetan plateau, making life air-conditioned hell for snow leopards and putting paws and jaws in any people that...
Leopards are like, where the hell y'all come from? Ah! What? They just, okay, we got buffaloes over there. We got this. What? And they gotta eat too, bro. They
across their
you know what I'm
paths.
saying?
It's basically what happened to pigeons in America, but I've never seen a pigeon lil bro a wolf. I don't know what's with all the videos of Tibetan Mastiffs and wolves in the same place, but I have not seen one where the dog doesn't completely bully the, albeit smaller, Asian wolves. And speaking of wolves, at least the wild ones are afraid of humans. We genetically engineered a weapon of mass destruction.
They not gonna be
And it's completely our fault. Mastiffs in general are a canine flex. They'll have you mad stiff. As in rigor mortis.
That nigga's terrifying.
Bro,
look at his face.
In general are a canine flex. They'll have you mad
Bro, I'm just trying to eat. Mad
stiff.
I was just trying to eat.
As in rigor mortis, the bull mastiff looks like a sweetheart that could genuinely bench press your family. The Neapolitan mastiff was literally built on honey badger principles. Loose skin so that even when clamped, they can always turn around and face their problems. But it also makes them look like a victimized pizza pie, cheese sliding right off. But we can't forget the English Mastiff, one of the few dogs that could successfully maul a wolf. For reference, the beast from Sandlot was an English Mastiff, and the record for the heaviest dog is held by Ika Mazorba, an English Stiffy weighing 343 pounds. And of course, we can't.
That's too much dog. That's too much dog.
Bro, do you know how heavy that is?
That's too much dog.
That's way too much dog.
I gotta get my weightlifting up, bro.
Bro, we got, man.
I gotta get my weightlifting up, bro.
Wow.
I forget my favorite Mastiff, and honestly dog, the Rottweiler. This Rizzo fun is an easy attitude adjustment for any man that thinks he can whoop any dog. But one dog you would absolutely get worked by is... The Boerboel is a massive 200-pound vibe check of a pet. They were bred as a South African farm dog to protect the home against threats like leopards and even baboons. Ironically, it's the baboons I'm impressed by. You see, there's a lot of stories about this farmer dog, or as the kids say. There's one story of a Boerboel after depriving 4 leopards in a row before losing to a 5th. Another story goes like this. The king of Albania gifted Alexander the Great a massive Boerboel, but when Alex tried to get the dog to hunt, the dog seemingly refused, so Mr. Macedon did the sensible thing and murked the dog for insolence. Until the king said the dog wasn't lazy, just bored, and that these dogs were meant to hunt big game. Like elephant big. So apparently they sent a
Whoa! My guy was bored!
Wait a minute. Bro, we're
cooked.
We gotta stop breeding dogs.
Nah,
let's get with the Can we get let's Conger Spaniels? Let's get them niggas back in the. Let's like you know what I'm saying. Yorkies. What about Yorkies?
Yeah, for sure, bro.
What?
Wow,
dude.
Placement, and this Boerboel won Alexander over after breaking a lion's back and forcing an elephant off a cliff. Do I believe it? Absolutely not, but it helps my narrative if I pretend I do. What is true is the same Boerboel that squares up with big cats and baboons also has the personality of a weighted blanket, unless you threaten their family, in which case they'll put you in an ashtray. They're basically a guard dog that got promoted and invited out to hunts, which is actually the opposite of...
These are like natural muscles, bro.
The Rhodesian Ridgeback might seem like a token pick, but hear me out. They're the inverse of Boerboels. They were so good at hunting, they eventually got promoted to guards. With a max weight of like 120 pounds, the Ridgeback is the lightest dog in this video. They get the nod because they were used to hunt lions, along with the usual suspects like wild pigs and baboons. Now I should probably explain, when I say hunt lions, I don't mean these dogs are out here giving Simba the belt to butt. There isn't a dog alive that can beat a lion. No dog exists that can 1v1 a bear. And pretty much all would get folded by a full-grown, all-American Northwestern wolf. By hunting, really the Rhodesian Ridgebacks would bay the lions. Not straight up attack them, but harass them, applying constant pressure until eventually the hunter showed up. The best way I can explain it is these wolves mobbing a black bear and basically escorting him away from their pups hidden in the grass. Rhodesians more so keep the lion in one place, which is arguably just as impressive. It takes a lot of intelligence to...
Bro, that's still impressive, because the lion can murk them
easily.
Get one paw on them, but they out of there, bro. That's still something, bro.
Pin a predator 5 times your size, and yeah, Ridgebacks are creepily smart. Ask around, some will even say they're human. And that's a level of intelligence I'm not trying to deal with. One thing I do love is a dog that went against literal lions is also mad sensitive. They do not respond well to harshness, and you unironically have to watch how you talk to them because they will take it personally. They're basically gifted teenagers. They're not for the discipline, so you better keep it positive.
Dogo Argentino.
I almost forgot to mention the Dogo Argentino.
Yeah.
A mistake that would have been. Basically, a teenager in the 1920s unlocked free will and decided to create the best possible hunter dog. He took traits like the scent tracking of a pointer, the height of a Great Dane, the Pyrenean Mastiff's calm temperament, and the boxer's overall athleticism, and crossbred them with the now extinct Cordoba fighting dog. Eventually, he created an Argentinian Mastiff, and to prove its strength, he pitted his dog against a wild boar and a mountain lion, gladiator style. Only the dog made it out, and I wouldn't even believe.
Bro, okay, it's like it's impressive that they can do this or that they figured it out, but it's also wild as hell.
Yeah, and
That you figured this out.
Bro, like, why are we doing this?
Cause this not like, oh, I'm gonna take a chihuahua and let it hump on a whatever. This is like y'all doing some interesting, like y'all really in there like it's dripping this and then this dog is gonna fuck this one and I'm gonna take his testicles and I'm gonna and they're like, why are y'all doing this, bro? This is nuts. And he was a teenager doing this.
Believe that if it wasn't for the story of Morocho, the Dogo Argentino, allegedly killing a puma to save his 2 human girls. Allegedly, because I'm not entirely sure it's true. I still can't see one soloing a healthy mountain lion, but the narrative has been set. So W Morocho. They might not be the biggest, but it's an explosive cannonball of a canine athlete that could overwhelm a grown man on the right day. They're tough enough to endure hours of trekking through rough terrain and still have enough juice to wrestle an animal 3 times its size. But if I ever saw this in an alley, my soul would auto-connect to the Wi-Fi in the sky. Now that's real Bluetooth. By now, you probably recognize the pattern. If a dog was bred as a livestock guardian in the mountains, it's likely the last dog you ever want issues with. And that is everything the Central Asian Shepherd dog is. The CAS, or Alibi, is another LGD spawning from Central Asia, and one of the few dogs that could honestly be confused with a polar bear. And while most of the dogs here are a matter of speculation,
we be taming these things.
No, we don't.
Like we be like befriending these things. What you mean?
Them things be chilling with us.
Yeah, they be playing us. That's what they doing. No cap.
With the symbol of canine country strength off the...
Bro,
now granted, she's probably a small woman.
Bro, she the height of symbol. You can tell that's the height of symbol.
Damn, Dad, look at that head. Look at that neck.
Look at the fucking pectorals on
Oh my God.
And weighing over 200 pounds, a full-grown specimen motivated by malicious intent would dismantle an able-bodied man. And as one of the oldest dogs, humans didn't really do that much to breed them. They were honestly bred more by the harsh environment than anything. Just an overall unit of everything a dog can be, and likely the biggest dog most people have never heard.
Full of energy and ready to
this
attack.
This isn't to demonize any breed in particular. I just figured the man versus dog thing gave me an excuse to talk about him, and I don't think I ever did make a dog video, so, you know, 2 birds, 1 stone and stuff. And if you're a man who thinks they can solo everything on this list, you got it. Don't take it too serious. Although I haven't made an animal versus animal video in a minute.
We gotta stop. Okay, the 100 man versus gorilla, I give it to you. I think we win. But all dogs?
Not all dogs, bro.
Never in a million years. Next up, ruining Finding Nemo with science.
Remember that time Disney made a kids movie where a man's wife and children get finally ripped off the census and his only remaining son is left physically disabled, only for that same son to get kidnapped by a trafficker, and now the father has to travel hundreds of miles across predator-populated hoods with only the help of a severely mentally handicapped woman. Yeah, Finding Nemo is crazy.
That part right there makes that impossible. I'm traveling, okay, the water's blue, I can drive. You know how annoying that would be? Like the human version of Dory? Like traveling with that to find your son and you can't get rid of her? Not happening.
Right, that I can drive was crazy.
No, I was just, you know, my fault.
Right.
I'm gonna destroy your favorite movie with science, and here's a challenge. Take a shot, or a hit, because you know, 420. Every time a main character should have become a chalk outline. Your grandkids will be an AA at the end. So it starts with a barracuda clapping virtually Nemo's entire bloodline, and here's where we get our first problem. Barracuda don't eat clownfish or their eggs, but you know who do? Clownfish themselves. Clownfish have been known to spawn, kill, and eat their own eggs, so Nemo's mother would have been infinitely more of a threat to him than any barracuda could have been. Now, to be fair, if you ask the clownfish how they like their eggs, they'd probably say unfertilized, because those and damaged ones are the ones they'd usually eat, i.e. the ones that wouldn't make it anyway. But that goes against my narrative, so I'm gonna disregard it. The other elephant to address is how clownfish breed. Clownfish are sequential hermaphrodites, where every clownfish is born a male, and the biggest, most him male will transition into a female when the opportunity arises. Such an opportunity would be if a hypothetical barracuda took the alpha female on a dinner date with Batman's parents. That void would get filled by the biggest male clownfish in the area.
Boy, that's some backward, boy. I'm so much of an alpha that all y'all gonna ram me now.
I'm so manly, you gotta fuck.
I'm so manly, you gotta hit now.
Yeah,
now come get this. Yeah.
I'm so manly, I'm gonna make you come.
Hey.
And his spot would get filled by the second biggest male, and the two would proceed to mate with each other. And since the only clownfish we see in the entire movie are father and son, I'll let you fill in those dots.
No!
Clownfish are the only-
There are only two left.
I mean, Nemo.
He trying to get Nemo. I think Nemo probably got kidnapped on purpose at this point.
Nemo was gonna take Marlin. Marlin was about to get a fish Uchi. He lost his fish dick, and he was about to get a fish Uchi.
No.
That fish out to the fish Uchi.
Come on, man.
Only fish that switch teams. The Asian sheep's head wrasse does the same, but in reverse. They go from female to male. Although with a face for radio, you will not see them on a movie poster. If Nemo and Marlin having the worst form of family therapy wasn't bad enough, there's a good chance Nemo wasn't ever even alive. What if I told you Nemo means no one in Latin? Which means the movie title makes the theory that Marlin married Itachi suddenly gained legs. He also could have been named after Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But that goes against my narrative, so I'm gonna disregard it. It's easy for facts to get lost in favor of a better story, and if you don't know where to look, you'd have no way of knowing. Like, you may have heard that the administration started putting tariffs on penguins. Now, personally, I think it's been time those business chickens ponied up. They've had it too good for too long. Nemo's mom passed tense her progeny, and his father's going Marlin to Marlene as soon as he gets off screen. Alright, so Nemo is going to school, and when we get there, we meet these guys. And I remember, as a kid, I was not sure what Pearl was. Well, she's a young flapjack octopus. They're remarkably adorable in real life. The problem is, if this were real life, she'd be a lot less cute. The flapjack can be found in depths as far down as 1,500 meters, or 100 meters short of a mile, or about 3.5 Empire State Buildings. And since this pink propeller hat can withstand crushing pressure, if she existed where Nemo could see her, she would be turned into disfigured mush. Think about how getting pulled out of their habitat turns a normal looking blobfish into a deflated, misshapen whale fetus. There's a whole course that got memed, and Pearl being where the sun shines would reduce her to flamingo vomit. Also, at one point, Pearl says this about her arm.
It's actually shorter than all my other tentacles.
Well, octopus usually have one shorter arm called the hectocotylus, and its job is to deliver baby batter directly to the female, and in some species, it detaches for the female to swim off with like a Costco coitus card. In fact, the bedroom arm might have a mind of its own, since it can swim to the female, and it's believed it can even sense danger. So two things, Pearl's not a girl, and that is an indecency charge. That's not the last time we go down that road either. Now we're gonna ignore the fact that flapjacks don't actually have a hectocotylus, because that goes against my name. So after Nemo sees his first pink slip, we then meet Mr. Ray. Not to be confused with the op of the Irwins, because Steve wouldn't even want that, but also because Mr. Ray is a manta ray, non-venomous and completely harmless. Now I don't know if they did this on purpose, but they chose arguably the smartest fish in the ocean to be their teacher. Manta rays are considered the most intelligent, with the largest brain to
was clean.
Hey, low-key scary.
Yeah, scary too. Isn't a vehicle like designed after this? I feel like there is.
I think you thinking about sci-fi. There's like stuff in sci-fi designed after
body ratio of any fish. The overachieving aquatic placemat is apparently capable of problem solving and advanced communication. They're also self-aware, with more than one occasion of a manta ray checking itself out in a mirror, and they were even caught waving and blowing bubbles at their own reflection. And just for reference, that's not how they'd react to another manta. Some mantas have even been on record asking divers for help removing hooks, so yeah, makes sense this one would have a teaching degree. Anyway, Mr. Ray gives the kids a marine magic carpet ride through the reef. Stop, right there. As a kid, it used to drive me crazy that I didn't know what that was. Years later, I have the answer. Spanish dancer. This Pacific pancake is a nudibranch, aka a type of giant sea slug, and a species known as a Spanish dancer, named after the flowing frills of a flamenco performer. It looks a lot like what SpongeBob got caught watching it for. Ironically, sponge is what they eat, and they'll actually steal their toxins for their own use. It's essentially cultural appropriation with poison. They also play for both sides, but unlike clownfish, they're born with both equipment. Now for how they use it, well, sometimes two slugs will donate nativity nectar to each other and head on their way. Some sea slugs have two penile appendages, one for delivering baby batter, and the other to stab their partner through the head to release a substance believed to brainwash the receiver into accepting their love juice while internally rejecting that of a rival. How do Spanish dancers do it? I don't know. I honestly stopped looking because I can only read the words traumatic insemination so many times. Also,
Bro, these animals are... Bro, this is nuts!
Bro,
Nature is actually scary as all get out.
you should have stopped all this from happening, Mike.
Me?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you should have stopped this.
Okay, for sure. For sure.
So in the movie, that specific dancer has a name. Canonically, it's Maria. Or I guess Mario. I guess both. So anyway, you know how the story goes. Eventually they get to the drop-off, the kids start doing the type of shit that got Harambe packed, and Nemo decides he really wants to live up to his name and gets himself kidnapped. His father tries to save him, but gets flashbanged by a camera. And yeah, that's accurate. A camera flash might not kill a fish, but it's severely disorienting and like a forced factory reset. That's why they say no flash photos in an aquarium. One time a tuna mistook a flash for a fish and proceeded to one-shot itself into the glass in front of several children. So I take it back. I guess it could have murked Marlin if it made him split his skull on a piece of coral. A little while after that, we get to Dory. She's a regal blue tang and a species of surgeonfish that gained a lot of clout from the movie. She's also venomous with a caudal spine that extends whenever the fish is stressed, meaning Dory has a built-in prison ship.
We got the dumbest bill in the movie, venomous.
I was trying to make sure I never hold a dory before. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't. Yeah.
Not only can it cause severe pain and deep cuts, you're also liable to catch a nasty bacterial infection. That's why they're called surgeonfish. Because they will cut you. Dory would also conceal carry a toxin called ciguatera, and poisoning can lead to migraines, trouble breathing, and hallucinations. So yeah, the beloved Disney character can be a real headache to deal with in real life, although to be fair, I've heard the same said about her voice actor. Not long after that, we meet Bruce,
What
and
happened
considering
with a voice actor? What happened with a voice actor?
Her voice actor was Ellen, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it was!
I'm about to double check. Who was the
Horrible person behind the scenes. I think it was Ellen. It was?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, it was. Oh, man. Damn.
life, although to be fair, I've heard the same said about her voice actor. Not long after that, we meet Bruce, and considering he expeditiously kidnaps and essentially escorts them to an underwater white van, he might just be a predator in every sense. But when we see all three sharks, they swear by vegetarianism. We also see this guy. Remember him, he's gonna be important. Now there actually are vegetarian sharks. More than half of the bonnethead shark's diet is seagrass. And turns out whale sharks eat a massive amount of green. But considering we're talking about a great white, a hammerhead, and a mako, the only thing saving a clownfish and a blue tang is they're technically too small to even be worth the effort. Also, when Jaws cries about never knowing his father, it's because many sharks exhibit multiple paternity, where one litter can have several fathers. Shark Mommy's womb is like a baby batter bouillabaisse, where paternity is like a lottery system. That was really gross.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Wow, yeah, it really was. Okay.
All right, Bonnie Blue.
Next, fellas.
All right, Bonnie Blue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tone it down. But yeah, Bruce has no way of knowing who his father is. But it could be worse. Baby sand tiger sharks will cannibalize their siblings while in utero. And we know that because one time a scientist tried to slide his hand inside a pregnant shark's nookie and almost got his finger bit off. Okay, so later on, Marlin and Dory decide to dive into God's blind spot.
He put his hand
Why was he in there?
Yeah, good question.
Fuck science, bro.
Why was he in there? And he went in there and got bit. The baby shark said, "Get out!" Like imagine we did that to humans, and the baby in there like, "Get out! What the hell is you doing?"
Grab your finger.
Crazy.
And almost got his finger bit off. Okay, so later on, Marlin and Dory decide to dive into God's blind spot. Now, ignoring the fact that the pressure should have popped their eyes out and pushed their organs out of their mouths, they nearly get sent to a Tupac concert by
That ugly son of a bitch. Hideous.
Anglerfish. Now, fun fact, if you watch the credits, that anglerfish lives a vorophilic wet dream when it gets swallowed by the little anxiety guppy from earlier. Funny thing is, it'd be the other way around. Anglerfish can distend their jaws and stomach and swallow prey physically bigger than they are. They extend so far that it inspired one man to pleasure himself with a dead anglerfish's stomach.
I'm losing faith in humanity every day. We are the problem.
We the problem. We need to get rid of us.
We are the problem 100%.
We need to get rid of us.
Like, what the hell? A stomach?
Fish. This fish hoochie.
Come on,
Which
man.
promptly sent him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Should have sent him to solitary confinement. That is a hell of a hear me out. The kind that should forfeit your right to human contact.
Yeah.
It's not long after that we meet a lot of 90s kids' first introduction to rage bait. If these moonfish were humans in 2025, They'd be kick streamers. In real life, fish will use this shoaling strategy to intimidate predators using the hive mind method. On a large scale, it's pretty cool. It makes sharks swimming through them look like an Etch-a-Sketch. But when predators like tuna gang up on them, it turns the bait ball into a slaughter. Also, just as a callback, the reflection of the sunlight off the prey scales is exactly why a camera flash can make a tuna crash. Out, that is. Now let's talk about Nemo, because Buddy would have really become a no one before he ever saw his dad. Let me tell you about osmosis. No.
Not Jones.
So diffusion just means molecules will move from one area of high concentration to low concentration, and osmosis is that, but for water. Stay with me now. As a saltwater fish, Nemo would normally have a higher concentration of water inside him than outside, so high to low, water would leave him like his mother left the mortal plane. To avoid meeting her, Nemo would have to take in water while his kidneys work to pump the salt out. But put him in fresh water and the opposite happens. Now the concentration of water would be higher outside Nemo than inside, so high to low, Nemo would get internally waterboarded. So Nemo being flushed in a freshwater sewage plant means he would not make the sequel, as his cells would swell and rupture, and he'd get packed up by water poisoning. Also, fun fact, one line in this movie led to the deaths of thousands. You want to guess what it was?
All drains lead to the ocean, kid.
Just like that, Disney sent countless amounts of pet fish to the gulag at the hands of dumbass little kids, and if I had fish at the time, I would have been one of them. It also inspired children to set their goldfish free in the wild. Giant Goliath goldfish is why you do not do that. It's a bug-eyed invasive that's basically a nuke to the natural habitat. Now, I'm not blaming the movie for this, but their hands aren't clean. The irony is, a movie about letting fish be turned a lot of wild fish into pets and a lot of pet fish into the wild. Anyway, back to the father. Eventually, they both get taken.
You know what's crazy to think about? Goldfish being an invasive and getting that damn big.
Because they aren't they originally not a real fish? Like, weren't they genetically made?
I don't know. That's crazy. And I feel like they can survive a lot of conditions.
Yeah, because I could have sworn they were genetically made.
Yeah, I just seen a TikTok video of a dude went to like some abandoned thing, and like in the back, it was like built like
the abandoned. It's the abandoned floating hotel.
I think so. I don't know what the building was, but like somewhere in the back where stuff is knocked over, he made his way back there. There's a pond full of goldfish just surviving. The water's green. Like nobody's like they just in there surviving. Took over the pond. I'm like, yo. How they even?
Whale. And oh boy, there is a lot to unpack here. Stay with me now. That was a blue whale. Not only are they the biggest things alive ever, unpack here. Stay with me now. That was a blue whale. Not only are they the biggest things alive ever, it takes so much energy for them to open their mouths. They only do it when they're guaranteed enough krill calories. Not only that, blue whales taking so much water in the process. We're talking 10,000 gallons or like 200 bathtubs. The effort it takes to carry all that means the blue whale can barely move. So yeah, Bluey would have been physically incapable of carrying them to Sydney. But even if they could, Nemo still would have come out of it an orphan. When blue whales hold all that water, they squeeze that water out with their tongue, and anything not water gets trapped in their baleen. It's how they filter feed, which means our fish friends would have been crushed to death by an 8,000-pound tongue. That's the weight of an elephant. Also, it would have been physically impossible for the whale to shoot them off at Sydney, since the blue whale's mouth does not connect to its blowhole. Also, whales don't shoot water out of their blowholes. It's really just warm whale lung air meeting cool outside sea air with some mucus, and it smells like a tire factory married the final boss of tonsil.
Ew! I wonder if that's why, like, whale carcasses, like, smell, like, I heard they smell terrible.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, it's a rotten carcass regardless of... but
outside sea air with some mucus, and it smells like a tire factory married the final boss of tonsil stones. So if smell kills, they would have got to guess past the fish hell. But ignoring all that, eventually they trade one live Uber for another when a friendly pelican saves them from a flock of hungry seagulls. Seagulls are a feathery antichrist and the spawn of Satan. And they should be afraid of pelicans, since pelicans are documented literally swallowing birds alive. In fact, one of the most traumatizing documentaries I watched was where Cape Gannets were nesting on Malgus Island by the thousands, but because of overfishing, great white pelicans started pulling up to the nursery. What followed was a bunch of today pterosaurs strolling across the island like a grocery aisle and swallowing any unsupervised chicks alive. Like, you could hear the chicks as they were sliding down their throats.
Oh my God!
Only for the pelicans to fly home, just to regurgitate the recently devoured baby birds for their own pelican chicks to eat.
My God!
I'm so glad he didn't play the audio.
Yeah, that would have been that. What bird was that? We was on the ship, and it was it seagulls? that was
It was
flying?
the seagulls or pelicans. One of the two.
Boy,
No, because that's a pelican. It was seagulls.
talk about huge. Like when you see them on video and all that seagulls, you like, oh, they don't look. No, huge.
Wingspan.
Boy,
Nigel might be the real villain here. Now that didn't really have to do with the plot, but I just sat here and overanalyzed the kids movie from 2003 because I have nothing better to do.
yeah.
And if this video gets 150,000 likes, I'll do it to another one.
Oh,
You can
what
probably
other one is
guess
it?
which one.
Oh,
Friendly
I
reminder that I
know!
do have a Patreon if you'd like to support me.
You're
beyond.
You
evil.
should do Brother Bear.
Oh, okay.
Subscribe, but as always,
I seen a Chinese version. Brother Bear.
For real?
It auto-played, I think, on YouTube or something. I was like, what the hell is this? I looked, I was like, that's a knockoff of that other movie. Okay.